Well, happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to Rainy Nights, this segment of my YouTube on Rainy Rider YouTube channel, where I interview motor vloggers, motorcycle personalities, and really everybody that wants to get on here and talk about motorcycles. So tonight, I've got Hatter JBK, straight out of West Virginia. Hatter, you want to say hello?
Hey. Sorry.
There you got it. All right. Here we are. All right. So we've actually got to meet a couple times. And I was just telling him one of the things that I really like about him is he actually involves his family in this. He goes with his family, spends time with his family, and then he comes to our weirdo meetups, and then he spends more time with his family and just kind of he juggles it all, and I don't know how. So amazingly, apparently. So if
that
you
probably depends on who you ask.
If you haven't been here before, yeah, this is a regular stream. We got it going on good. I do it every Saturday and Sunday night around 5 p.m. Central Time. If you like it, then hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the comment, share it with your friends, and then come back every Saturday and Sunday night because I plan on doing this for a while because honestly, it's kind of fun. I love getting to know my fellow motor vloggers and my fellow motorcycle riders. Hatter's got a channel of his own. You want to put something out on that? Tell us what it is, where it is, how to find it.
I think I sent you the Linktree links to put on here at some point, and I do have a YouTube channel. It's also Hatter JBK, but by and large, that's just videos, 360 videos, still left in VR mode, so you can pan around and look at the scenery of just my rides. It's no talking, no engines. It's just music and rides.
But
the more active parts where I actually talk to people is Discord and Instagram. So,
but you live in West Virginia, so your rides are pretty. Yeah. You say pan, you just pan around while you ride. It's more than that. I mean, you've got the best riding area around your place than probably 90%, 95% probably the rest of America because you live right on what?
Right on the Appalachian Mountains.
Yep. So. Yeah, it's a lot of fun there. So, all right, so we're going to kick this off. Got 20 questions here. It might evolve into more questions, but we're going to start with this 20, and we're going to start rolling. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, so we've kind of covered it, but where are you from, and what do you ride?
Dunbar, West Virginia, and it's a 2013 Victory Crossroads Classic.
Love us of it. So have you done anything special to it?
Not really. Added just decorative stuff, a little bit of leather here and there to cover up some scratch and dings, and a Wile E. Coyote sticker on a dent in the tank.
So how long have you been riding?
Since 2013 is when I bought my first bike, and I tried briefly once when I was a teenager and had a rather impressive wipeout and asked Dad to check to see if it was me or the clutch that failed, and his checking of the clutch involved just selling the bike. So well, I could afford my own. That was the end of my riding.
Right on. I get it. So if you guys out in the audience have any questions for us, I try to keep a good eye on the chat, but to make sure I see it, lead off your question with @RainyRider. That way it'll pop up in orange and I'll be able to see it, and it'll get my attention a little better. So I kind of know this because of where you live, but are you a fair weather rider or a rough rider? Will you ride in any weather?
Fair when I get the chance. It's if I'm just doing something locally, I'll check the weather first, and if it's not pretty decent, I'm not going to go out in it. But as far as my longer road trips, if there's rain in the forecast, well, too bad. I can't predict the weather 4 states away. That's is what it is. So.
All right, we touched on this other question a little bit, but how did you get into motorcycles?
I just like them. Like I don't. Dad's got some that are his and whatnot, but that wasn't really the big influence. I just liked motorcycles and decided to take the MSF to see if I could actually do it, and then did it, and then went out and bought a bike, and have been doing it ever since. And I just really like it.
Okay. So who or what inspires you to ride? On a day you're sitting at home and you're like, I think I want to ride today. What makes you want to just jump up and take a ride?
Could be anything from nice weather to just need to clear my mind to anything. It's I don't really need a reason. I just like to do it.
All right. So would you rather a solo ride or a group ride?
Hmm. Bit of both. So I like smaller groups as far as if we're going any real distance, although I'm not opposed at all to huge bike events with 100, 200,000 people in the group ride. But if I want to go out and just see some scenery and do some long riding, I want no more than probably 3 or 4 people with me. So
Aaron says he's upset you don't have your hat on, and I kind of expected you to wear the hat too. So, all right. I've never heard of that.
there you go, Louis. 1 minute, I can fix the hat.
Yep. If you're aren't following the chat, Lis Mulatto said, "Where's the bourbon?" And he had the bourbon. There we go.
Of course, now you will not be able to see my face, will you? Oh, yeah, there's still some light.
Oh yeah, we're good. We're still good. All right, Aaron, you happy now? All right. So, what is your? You do run a Discord page, so you follow all these group rides and these group meetups and stuff. What is your favorite moto meetup?
I'm probably gonna be the first person that doesn't say the the Fallen Forgotten Angels ones. So I prefer the Five Dirty Bikers meetup,
Okay.
and just because it's honestly they're similar as far as the feel of them generally goes, just a bunch of family, community, and whatnot. But that's the first one I went to, and it's where I met a lot of really good friends and such, and so it's just a special one to me.
Okay. And that one is where?
They host it all over. They move it around to try and kind of give people opportunities to get to it. That because last year it was in the Uranus Fudge Factory in Missouri. The year before that it was in Lexington, Kentucky, and I don't remember what the year before that was because I didn't know about them
Okay.
3 years ago. But
So, as far as the ones that aren't continually occurring, what is your favorite single meetup you've done? The one that was a one-time thing.
So far, I'd say the most recent one that I had with Gorilla Biker was probably one of my favorites. I think that was a lot of laughing. Either that or when I brought John Doe. Well, I don't know if he's on the Shade Tree server or the Five Dirty. I know he's on Five Dirty Bikers, but I don't know if he's on Shade Trees. But when I brought John Doe down, toured around Seneca Rocks here in West Virginia, that was fun.
Okay.
A lot of laughs.
All right. So, what is the stupidest thing you have ever done on a motorcycle?
I had an answer for that, and I just forgot it. Stupidest thing I've done on.
I'm sure in our line of questioning, it's going to come back. So,
Yeah.
all right. How about the scariest thing you've ever done on a
The
motorcycle?
scariest thing would be a toss-up between the deer that was about this far from my fender when I finally got to a stop, or the blowout along the windy mountain roads over towards Richwood, Virginia. And yeah, losing a rear tire at 60 miles an hour in twisty roads is not fun. Neither is having your stop an inch short of Bambi. So those would be the two.
That's two things I think mean something entirely different to a motorcyclist and to
Yes.
a car driver. A motorcyclist, a car driver getting a tire, it's like, oops, what's that sound? It sounds like thumping. Oh, better pull over. With a motorcyclist, it's much more intense. So,
Yes. Yeah, Shannon was not impressed either time.
Oh,
She was on the back.
was she on? Oh,
was on the
wow.
back of the stops. I don't know why she still gets on a motorcycle with me.
For the thrills, for the lulls, like the teens say, I do it for the lulls. So, what has been your favorite part of motorcycle riding?
Well, probably the getting to meet everybody. That's actually what I tried to start my whole Discord for, was to just do more of that. Honestly, get people together, make it easier for them to find the meetups, try to figure out where people are at so that we can get together as easy as possible. But that's probably been my favorite part.
Oh, Aaron, this shirt is for you. I try to impress my little brother with all of my gaming shirts, so try to make him happy. This one's from Fallout, all the Fallout series, honestly, but this one's actually from Fallout 4. They snuck that into one of the frames on one of the upgrades. It's kind of a cross between Game of Thrones and Fallout, so I thought that was pretty cool. So
Fallout Tidbit 76 is based out of West Virginia.
And I wanted to love that game, I really did. And parts of
I
it
did,
I do.
and if they'd have left the feature in where you could turn off player versus player,
Yes.
they were supposed to have a feature where you could just, so that people, if you didn't want to fight them, you didn't have to.
And that
They
would
could
have
shoot
been,
you all day long, and it would be pointless.
yeah, and
But
that would have
they-
been great because, well, I'm so used to these first person shooter games, and when you walk up to somebody in a game where you're playing other people and you just kind of stare at each other because you're waiting for the other person to start the dialogue, because that's what normally happens in a first person shooter, and then you just kind of stare at each other and it's like, okay, this is another human being and I don't like this.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I loved the game. I loved the parts of the game where it was just me against creatures and me against the little stupid, even the little stupid robots that you couldn't make it go away. But yeah, it just loses something. And then you've got the 10-year-old kids that run around just trying to kill everybody, and that was my
Yeah, those were the ones that the feature was specifically to avoid those. If folks wanted to go around hunting players, there was supposed to be a check mark. You could just turn it off in the settings, and you were immune from them. You couldn't hurt them. They couldn't hurt you. And for whatever reason, they just didn't develop that setting. Well, it's there. I think the check mark's there. It just doesn't really
it's
do it.
there and doesn't do anything because
Yeah.
and I think what I read, I can't remember the guy's name now, but one of the developers was saying that they were going to make it where you couldn't just stand over somebody and kill them over and over. There was like a 5-minute delay in killing certain players, but that just meant that person would just run around and kill somebody else. And for somebody who had spent a lot of time finding a certain gun, getting a certain recipe, it sucked. So I just totally quit playing that game.
Yep.
But otherwise, yeah, that would have been an awesome game if they would not have made it a world play multiplayer MMORPG. Did I get that right, Aaron? MMORPG. So, what is the most frustrating thing about riding a motorcycle to you?
Anything to do with maintenance or mechanical work, I avoid it like the plague. Absolutely hate it. Of course, I hate it on all vehicles, but that's so. When you get to the part where who have I inspired to wrench? Nobody, not a soul. I hate it. I swear at it. I would set my motorcycle on fire if I had to try and work on it myself.
Call me. I make house calls every once in a while. It might take me a while to get there, but yeah, I always hate that. And I used to love it. So I used to deal on Craigslist, and I would. I'd buy a bike when we lived in Jonesboro, Arkansas. I'd buy a bike on eBay, keep it for a while, fix it up, and then sell it. And it just killed me how many people would sell a bike because it wouldn't run. You get it home, you clean the carbs, you put fresh gas in it, put plugs in it, and it fires right up and it runs like a dream. But literally people, and they do it with cars too. I bought a truck that the guy said just kept burning through clutches. I bought it. It was a '94 Ford Ranger, and he said it just keeps burning through clutches, and something's wrong. Transmission's bad, and it ended up being that when he would take it to Ford and get it worked on, they were changing the friction plate, not changing the pressure plate, and so literally this guy's clutches were lasting like less than a year, sometimes 6 months, and it was crazy, but.
I'm not quite that bad. I don't declare it dead until the mechanic declares it dead.
Oh, I have seen people. I had a guy when I lived in St. Louis said he's getting rid of his motorcycle because it won't stay running. It's a piece of trash. And first thing I saw when I looked at it was he had tried to change his own spark plugs, and there was anti-seize all over the spark plug cable. So a lot of these motorcycles, especially Hondas and BMWs, they have resistors in the spark plug, and that helps distribute the spark. And when you get anti-seize on them, it basically just grounds your spark plug wire. So you're not going to get a spark because all your spark is going straight into your engine case, not through your plug. So, and this dude was just ready to sell the motorcycle. And I was like, change your plugs. You've obviously saturated your entire plug wire. change your plugs, change your wire, don't put any indices on it, and it'll run just fine. And he did. But I wish I wouldn't have told him that, because then I'd have another motorcycle. But obviously I would have sold it later, but I mean, still, it's just, I don't know. A little bit of wrenching goes a long way. So if you do decide to burn it to the ground, don't call me. I'll make a house call. I can fix it for you.
Yeah, you're second on the list. Guerrilla Biker's already claimed first dibs. But.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, well, not to buy it. I want to fix it. I hate to see people, when I lived in Chicago, it was really bad because, so up in Chicago, where it's cold, and probably where you are, people idle their cars a lot. And I started noticing that all these people were going, and they said their fuel pumps were bad, and they keep having to bring their fuel pumps in, get their fuel pumps changed, and their relays were going out. And I'm like, there's no damn way. Is it waxing the fuel? What's going on? And what it was, they would idle their cars to stay warm when they were on their trips, because we were on a naval base. And they would idle the cars to stay warm, and they'd idle them sometimes 10, 15 minutes before work. Then they'd go out before they go, before they return home, they'd idle them. And it was burning up the spark plugs, and they're melting down their cores. And literally, changing the plugs and changing the plug wires was all they really needed to do. But there was a Ford place there and a Chevy place that basically just took advantage of people who didn't know how to work on their own stuff. And so they would tell them, oh yeah, you need this $600 fuel pump, and we're going to charge you, another $400 labor, and they were out, $1,200 before it was all said and done, just because they needed new spark plugs. So anyway, long story short, call me. I'll come work, because I love wrenching on stuff. I am the actual polar opposite. I love wrenching on stuff. It's in my blood. So moving on to the next thing. Nobody's throwing questions up. I'm kind of upset with you guys. What's going on with you guys? Jeez.
Well, that's where the hat was and where the bourbon was. We answered that, and now they're happy.
Where's the hat? Where's the bourbon? We're done. Let's watch. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we're on into February now. What are your plans for the new year? What kind of rides do you have planned? What kind of events do you have planned? Dirty Bikers, obviously.
I'm hoping to make it to the March Forgotten Angels. I've already requested the time off. I'm just waiting for official approval. If I do, you guys will get to meet that Jim guy or John Doe guy I mentioned earlier, because he's supposed to be riding down with me. So, shoot, I've got all kinds of stuff planned. I just don't remember what it is.
We got some people ducking in. Let's see who we've got in the audience tonight. So, Casey.
I want to hit the Blue Ridge Parkway. I always do ride for the Rhinos up out of Columbus, Ohio. FDBM, of course, whenever they finally announce the location for that, I'll probably head there. Trying to actually make a meetup on my server, which I keep forgetting about until I look at my server and see the channel for it. And then we have the New River Gorge Bridge. Every year that they've started now, they have a Gold Star Mothers for mothers who have lost children in war. And they have a ride for them that raises money and funds and awareness for them. So I'll be going on that. And then to the October Forgotten Angels. That's all I got planned at the moment.
I did a ride over that bridge one time, and it was scary enough just riding over it. And then I saw through, I can't remember whose channel it was, that you can actually ride down into the gorge on this road that does switchbacks all the way down, and it's a very narrow road too. So I'm thinking, maybe?
No, that's not so bad. I've done it on the Victory. Certainly your K1600 could make it down there.
Oh, obviously not loaded down. Me and that bike, so when we went to Eureka, and I said this on a couple other interviews, but yeah, that bike loaded down with a passenger on the back is hard to control on those slow turns. And so yeah, Eureka Springs.
I with Shanna on the back and following probably 30 Harleys. So.
Your bike is probably, the seat height on that one when I've got it jacked up is 33.5 inches. On the Victory, I am sure it's lower because I had a Victory Gunner. Mm-hmm. And I think the seat height on that one was like 26 inches. It was so low and comfortable. And that's kind of making
mine hovers right at 28 or 29 or something in there. It's a little higher than than the other smaller Victories. But
yeah. But yeah, naked I would probably do it. I would probably take, without baggage, without a passenger, I'd love to do that. I did see on the Eureka roads, somebody was just riding through, and I can't remember who it was that saw a wreck. Oh, it was Doodle. Doodle was riding through one of those 10 mile an hour curves that I talked about, and somebody had ran right off the road. And I'm like, that's what I'm worried about, because there's 4 ways to get to Eureka Springs, and people kept telling me, no, there's no 10 mile an hour curves.
One of them straight down.
Yeah. Oh, so the one that goes back towards Walnut Ridge, that one has all of the 20 degree and 17 degree grades. The one that goes through the tea kettle and goes back down toward Ozark, that's the one that has 10-mile-an-hour curves with no guardrail and straight down. Yes, absolutely straight down. So you really have to know what you're doing before you take one of these epic rides. Tail of the Dragon, Pig Trail, even what's the other one? The Belly of the Dragon or the neck of the dragon?
There's so many of the dragons out there anymore. We've got like 4 just in the state that are somethings of the dragons.
That's why I was like, I kind of inwardly wince anytime somebody goes, "Yeah, I just got a bike. We're gonna go do the Tail of the Dragon," and I'm like, "Oh man, I'll say a prayer for you." It's because it's definitely not beginner stuff, and I don't know. The guys.
I've tried twice, and both times I got there, it was pouring the rain, and the bike was loaded down, and had to channel onto that. I was like, "No, I'm not going to be a statistic today."
And it's not so much that the trails are that bad; it's that you have to take them at the speed they tell you to take them. If it's a 10-mile-an-hour curve, you might be able to pull 15 off of it. You're not going to run through like these guys, and I've seen this a million times. If you look at what's the guy? Moto Stars, and you look at the bearded fireman, whatever his name is, Dan the fireman. You look at these, and all these times they show Tail of the Dragon, the Pig Trail, all of this stuff through the Ozarks and through, and it's all roads that are very rideable. They're very rideable, but people get on them and get excited and think they have to ride them faster than their abilities let them. So. And these are beautiful roads, don't get me wrong. I encourage everybody to, once your skills get to where you're manageable, you don't have to be a pro. You just have to be manageable with your skills. Get out and ride these roads because they're beautiful, but don't let someone push you, and don't think you need to take them like everybody on TV is taking them, because, not required. There, I've said my piece. All right.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with it.
So
you're always kind of a little surprised that I can ride twisty roads. It's like, dude, have you ever seen a map of West Virginia? There are no straight ones. None. Zero. Zilch. I was actually at one of my motorcycle mechanics, and the guy came in asking, so where's the good roads around here? Now, when people say where are the good roads, we assume they be in the eastern half of the state where the big mountains are. We're like, oh, you just keep heading east, you'll hit them. Yeah. And he's like, no, the straight ones, the not so sharp. It's like everything around here is just sharp turns and everything. It's like, oh, well, in that case, you need to head northwest until you see a Welcome to Indiana sign.
Yeah, even into Virginia, I mean, it's you've got a lot of curves and mountainsides until you get towards, like halfway through the state.
So you're heading towards the beach areas, yeah.
Yeah, that's where your straight roads are, 44 and 64. Just keep driving. You'll get there. So let's see who we got in the audience today. We've got Aaron, Nothing at Random, Ollie. Louis Mulatto followed you here. Louis, you're not subscribed to me. Go ahead and subscribe. I've seen you on my channel before, but I don't know if you're subscribed. If you're not, subscribe. Casey's always here. Blick Rides is here. Billy is always here. Anthony's here again. Hey, Anthony. Rowdy's here. Gma Rides is here. I'm going to be interviewing Gma Rides. I believe it's next weekend. I'll have to look at my tally because I don't have it with me right now. But Process just subscribed to me. Yep, I did see a Process. I subscribed to you too when I saw it this morning. So hopefully we'll be seeing some stuff. He does some of this moto live streaming too. So if you guys aren't getting in, you do your streams. I do my streams. He does streams. Everybody's doing streams. This is great, and I think this is probably. Somebody asked me yesterday about all these people doing streams and like, you think they're trying to steal from you. Hell no, everybody's got their own thing. Like Shade Tree always says, if somebody does the same thing I'm doing it and they're more successful, that means I'm not doing it right, and they are. More kudos to them. But I love these things. I love to watch these interviews and learn people and watch people. The only ones I won't watch is the ones that are telling me how to do weird stuff, because I like these streams to talk about people and motorcycles. I don't want to watch these streams to learn how to invest in some obscure stock or, how to do some weird electronic thing. Juice is here. Hey, Juice. Juice's interview is coming up too. I think it's the same weekend as Gma's. But yeah, all these people. I love this. Yep. So I got another Lady Rider interview coming up on February 19th. I've got, obviously, Gma's coming up next weekend. The week after will be Red Rider. So I've got a lot more lady riders coming in to be interviewed. So, and I think people like that perspective because it's not these pretty girls. You can bet this: if I interview somebody on here, it's not one of these yoga pants wearing chick riders that ride with their halter tops. It's going to be an actual motorcyclist. So I want people who really ride, not people who are there to show their ass. So
I promise never to show up in yoga pants.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
Everybody thank him for that. But yeah, it's just one of the things. It's just, I don't know. It shouldn't get my goat, but it does. Whenever I see somebody fake putting on their things, and you can see them when they ride. I mean, it looks like they show these girls riding with their little bikini tops on, and it looks like they're trying to hold on to a wild horse. It looks like they've never been on a motorcycle in their life, and it just comes off so fake. So okay, so G-Moss is the 18th. She's the same weekend then as Red Rider. Well, that'll work out. Casey says he likes yoga pants. He wears them all the
Not
time.
me, you wouldn't, buddy.
So anyway, sorry to lose it there a little bit, but yeah, that's just how I play this game. All right, moving on. So if you could, barring money, barring time off from work, barring anything else, if you could get on a motorcycle today and just ride anywhere, where would you go? You don't have to start from your home. You can start anywhere, but where would you go?
Go anywhere. Somewhere overseas. The mountains over in like Italy or Europe or even over in like Ireland or something. Just different mountains. Something I'm not likely to be able to just drive my bike to. So somewhere I'd have to actually fly to and rent a motorcycle. But I've seen scenery from all of those places, and I would like to. I'd really love to see it in person. So
I wanted to get my bike and ride it in Kuwait because there's no speed limit. And even the speed limit, they put up signs, don't get me wrong. They have speed limit signs that say 160 and 180K, which is still pretty fast. I wanted to ride there and go as fast as I could on a motorcycle until I saw what it looks like when a motorcycle hits a sand dune that happens to be covering the middle of the road. And so I can't even say what kind of bike it was. It passed me in the middle of the night when we were making a prisoner run. It hit the median, probably 4 inches, actual median between the pieces of the highway, and the motorcycle dissolved. And I never saw what happened to the guy. He was probably doing in excess of 200 miles an hour. And he might as well just not existed. He just disappeared. I don't know what happened to him. But so yeah, that was my wish list. Not my wish list anymore. So
I don't want to ride anywhere crazy. I just want to ride somewhere pretty.
I do want to get on track. No, we've been talking about doing, obviously Pacific Coast Highway, the Pacific Northwest. I want to get up there, but I want to get there when it's not raining and it's not cold. And I'm not sure if there's ever a chance. G-Mom might be able to tell me, is there ever a time when it's not raining and cold up in the Pacific Northwest? I still want to do it. You know what? I don't even care if it's
I want to
raining.
make it further out west than I have. So far, the furthest I've made it is Missouri. Well, no, I guess Waco, Texas is the furthest out west I've made it on the motorcycle. Yep.
G-Ma says we have to wait for her interview to find out where the best riding places are in the Pacific Northwest. So I'll buy it. It's good for me. Do you guys have any questions for Hatter? Throw them down in the comments. Yes, Billy says it is very cool that we're here supporting the people we love. Absolutely. I think this is probably the best group of people I've ever met in my life. And I keep saying this. I say this in every interview. Been riding since I was probably 10. On street bikes since I was probably 15. So I've got, quite a few years of riding. So yeah, 40 years of riding motorcycles, and I've never been in a group like this that's so tight that you can just talk to. I think a lot of that might be one Forgotten Angels, but two, the ease of getting to know people through this electronic interface right here. This and just you get to know people better, I think. And I know people always say because of this electronic thing, you actually get to know people less because you're always in your electronic device. But when you use it for this kind of thing, I think you get to know people better. There are probably 90% of the people that are on that I talk to through Discord, that I talk to through the YouTube and stuff. I wouldn't know them, if it wouldn't have been for this, for all this fantastic electronic-y stuff. So everything has a good side and a bad side, and I think this is probably the good side because you get to know more people. Casey wants to know what your favorite food is.
Just about anything barbecue. Brisket, I guess, if I had to pick one of them.
Brisket?
Yep.
I can get that.
I'm wearing my favorite hat because everybody knows this hat. That's actually... So Hatter is not actually related to hats in any real way, shape, fashion, or form. There you go. That's my what nobody knows about me question. My screen name isn't related to hats at all. It's related to the Mad Hatter off American McGee's Alice. I thought he looked cool, and so I stole the screen name. And then I started showing up at group rides and events and telling folks who are looking for you, just find the fat guy with the beard and long hair at a biker event. That doesn't narrow it down at all. But it occurred to me that I'm the only one wearing a fedora because when it's really sunny or really rainy out, I put the fedora on because it makes a really good hat for rain and sun. And I was like, look for the fat guy with a fedora. and then it just kind of became the trademark. And that's why it's on the logo and stuff now.
It works. I mean, it's honestly, when you came on without it, I thought, okay, maybe it's not a fedora day. There was somebody else that I told make sure they wear their hat, and I can't remember who it was. Oh, it was Spaceman Spiff. He's very iconic with his cowboy hat. Mm-hmm. And when he went to come on, I'm like, so where's your hat? He goes, I was hoping you would let me wear my hat. And I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't I? It's you. I mean, like I said, so for those of you out there that haven't done the interview yet, when you do the interview with me, it's you. Show up as you. I don't want you to, wear clothes you normally wouldn't wear. I don't want you to act like you normally wouldn't act. When you show up, if you always wear a ponytail, wear a ponytail. If you show up in a plaid shirt, be you when you show up for these interviews, because that's who we want. We don't want somebody fake on there to interview. We want the person that we all know. So,
yep.
Let me see. Gma wants to know, when you're not riding a motorcycle, what is your jobs, your hobbies, etc.? What do you do with your time?
IT administrator is the fancy title. It just means if anything in the IT department breaks, I have to go mess with it. It's everything from desktop support to the servers. Hobbies, use video games and motorcycles.
I was going to say, we obviously know you play Fallout, so...
Yeah. Played. I tried it once just because my state got dragged into it, and then, yeah. No, mostly Hitman and Assassin's Creed are what I play now.
Yeah, I played early Hitman, the early Assassin's Creeds, and then when they got to, I think the last Assassin's Creed I played was the pirate one, the Black Flag. Yep. And after that it was like, oh yeah, by the way, there was an Assassin's Creed in the Viking days, and I'm like, I'm done. Now we're just trying to make money off of this.
I'm in Greece at the moment, so.
I did love the early ones. It was a great game, not a great movie. So no. Just leave it at that.
Same for Hitman.
I like that guy. He was in a movie called Gladiator where he played a boxer, and it was a fantastic movie. So I expected more from the movie. But is what happens. Bruiser asked if you like barbecue possum.
I haven't had it, but probably.
I tell people this all the time. I've had possum, I've had armadillo, I've had raccoon, but that was because I was growing up, and it was like, it was there, why not eat it? It's not like I wake up one day and go, you know what I'd like today? I'd like some possum. It just, yeah. I'm into steak now. So when you grow up poor, yeah, you'll eat anything. And I grew up on a pig farm too. So we went out in the woods hunting anything that was not pig or rabbit, because that's all we had on the farm. My stepdad had owned, or actually grew up on, a chicken farm and a dairy farm, so he did not want chickens and did not want cows. We'd get one cow a year, butcher it for meat, and he would not have chickens at all. He did not want chickens in the yard, period. And so I was just kind of raised to hate chickens, period. I love eating chicken. I will not have a chicken in the yard because they're absolutely messy. I had some probably the first 10 years of my life where we grew up, I had chickens, and it was horrible. Hated them. So that's your question. That's your answer for possums and all the other weird things. I do like gator though. I'll eat the shit out of a gator. Not a muskrat though, because they taste horrible. All right, what would your next bike be?
I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I have not found anything that I like better than Victory's, and just why I still own one. It looks like maybe someone might have let a Victory engineer back into the building for the Indian Challenger and the Pursuit, so I need to test ride one of those and see if they handle as well. But I want a bagger. I always want a bagger. A, I think they look nice. B, they generally have lots of storage and they're just comfortable and they're great for what I do. That said, I live in the middle of the mountains. They do have to be able to lean more than just if I turn my head too fast, shit starts scraping.
Yeah, that was my gunner. I literally, every time I would turn it to get up on the highway, it would scrape pegs. It was a great bike, and it's total control. You never out of control. It was like, and the pegs were fold away. Yep. But it's like every time you went to lean, you'd scrape pegs. So getting on the highway, doing 90s, onto the freeway, that's fine. I could not imagine coming around a 10-mile-an-hour curve and all of a sudden your pegs are dragging the asphalt. That would be a very bad feeling.
The K1600's on my short list, but that's, again, I'm a big guy, and my wife's not small either, and then we have luggage and gear and everything else. And the other thing Victory does that I don't see anywhere else is you can't find a bike with a stock gross vehicle weight rating that by the time you subtract the bike itself out of it will hold more than about 450, 500 pounds. The Victories would all hold like 530, 560 plus.
Yeah.
And, when you're loading it down with two not small adults and all their stuff, that adds up fast. And so
I bought my gunner.
Again, they've got they seem to have that similar suspension on like the Springfields and the anything with the air shock that Victory had that they migrated over into Indian's lineup. But they've made some of the maintenance parts like shocks, brakes, things like that. They've moved over to Indian, but they've if I ever smash a fender on that thing, I have no idea how hard it's going to be to get the part to answer Process's question there.
You don't need fenders.
But if it's brakes, things like that, not too bad. First of all, they're required by law, I think, to continue supporting it till like 2027. And then even then, a lot of the parts they moved over to Indian as far as the maintenance stuff goes.
Yeah, I got my gunner, and the very next week I got a letter in the mail saying that they were going out of business, and I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. But I think it was I think they said they would produce parts for 10 more years. I think is what it was. I think we all got that letter.
They canceled them in 2017. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I love that bike. I did, but then and I would have kept the bike because I loved it, and it was maintenance free. But that's when my wife decided she wanted to start touring again with me. So my wife has an illness, if nobody knows, and so she has good days and bad days, and all of a sudden she went into remission. Then she wanted to start touring with me again, so I had this Victory gunner that was just for me, and I was like, I need a bigger touring bike then. So now that's how we ended up getting the K16. But I love the K16. I love the Victory too. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not a bike snob. I ride whatever I like. If Kawasaki puts out a bike that I like, you're gonna see me ride Kawasaki's. If Honda puts out a bike,
I've had a Kingpin. I've had an Indian Cheap Vintage, and that thing again is another one of those low slung baggers that you can't hardly lean at all. And so I went straight back to a Victory because I was like, well, at least I can ride these things a little bit. But I just got a bigger one and went with a Crossroads. So
I missed something. Gima says she's staying out of the conversation. Oh, Gima, I did not mean I don't like pretty women. I love pretty women. I just don't. If you're going to be a motorcycle rider, act like you ride motorcycles. Don't act like an ornament on the motorcycle. That's all I'm saying. Unless you are pretty and can ride, and then that's real. Otherwise, yeah. I won't throw any names down, but there's just some of them out there that are not They get on the bike because that's what gives them views for their channels, and that's it. So, all right. Have you inspired anyone to ride motorcycles?
I keep working on my kids. So far, none of them ride yet, but that's there is my son's motorcycle helmet. He certainly plans to, and every now and again he'll hop on the back with me or something. And I've taught him a few times, just taking the Victory out, let him ride it around the parking lot and such. So I'm working on people. If I have inspired anyone else, they have not told me so.
I've had friends pop up out of the blue to tell me, "Hey, I got a motorcycle. I'm going to start riding. Where are you riding to? Where can I go?" And that's always a very cool feeling when somebody says, "Hey, I got a bike and I want to meet you somewhere because you're on a bike." Yeah, I'm also glad and don't want to talk about Casey being naked. So, good call, Gma. What do people not know about you? One thing that people do not know about you.
That's like I said. I copped out. I'm using my hat story for that one. I honestly have no idea what people might or might not know about me. I'll chat about everything and anything. So,
All right. If you could get on a bike today and only ride it one time, and you could never get back on it again, what would it be?
Boss Hoss, just for the novelty of that ridiculous engine.
Which one? So there's a couple of different ones, and we talked about it a little bit last
Yeah,
night.
pick any of them. I mean, they're
Yeah.
all insane.
Have you seen the episode of Bikes and Beards where they send them four, maybe five boss hosses, and he tells them he could ride three of them, but the fourth one is just for show.
Yeah.
And the fourth one was the double turboed Corvette engine, and the other ones were different. The 6 cylinder is an 8 cylinder, an 8 cylinder turbo, and then that one. It literally looked like a tractor. I mean, they all look like tractors, honestly. It's almost a throwback to, do you remember the Road Dog? Road Dog was a motorcycle from the early 80s that a guy who was a NASA rocket engineer, he worked on propulsions and hydraulic systems for rockets, decided, I'm going to make a motorcycle. And it ended up being something ridiculous, like 26 feet long. It was insane. If you have not looked up the Road Dog, look it up. It's RODOG. And the guy who made it, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but yeah, he was a NASA scientist. And he tried to go into business for himself. He made probably, I think he made 8 of them and sold them. Well, yeah, it had the first one had like a Pinto engine, the next one had like a V6 on it, and they just kept getting bigger and bigger. And it was an astronomically huge bike. So look it up. That's your homework for the crowd. Look that up. If you could tell a new rider one thing that you had to learn the hard way, what would it be?
Something I learned the hard way. Practice some sort of emergency braking before you're out on the road, because being able to stop's important. I've gotten lucky, and I will hopefully continue to do so. But yeah, that's knowing how to stop your bike, which is just practice, which would be the general thing. But just I learned the hard way that bikes don't just stop. Like you don't smack a pedal and they stop.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Work on your skills before you need them.
Yep.
And always do your brake checks. I even say that, when you got on the road, especially if it's raining or something, and you got to get out, do your brake checks, do your throttle checks, make sure everything's okay before you need to do it. So, I am going to.
And don't trust those little nubbin tire pressure thingies that go on your tire valves, because that's how I had my blowout. That thing said I had 43 pounds of pressure. I had a hole in the tire this big, and it was sitting flat on the road. It still believed I had 43 pounds of pressure.
I have.
I'm pretty sure it was wrong.
I have TPS on my motorcycles, but
The ones that
I
are built
still
in,
check.
that are internal, they're like, because I have tube tires, so I couldn't get an internal one, so I tried the little valvey ones, and yeah, it lied and it tried to kill me. Which to Michelin Commander 3's stiffness, I was riding an hour before I realized I had no air in my tire.
Yeah,
And no sooner did I say, man, something doesn't feel right to Shanna, then suddenly all hell broke loose because the tire finally gave out.
I'm going to do some of y'all's homework for you real quick here. I'm going to look up this Road Dog just because I can. Well, Bill Gulpke was the guy's name. Of course, why would it not be? Of course, they're not going to show it. Let me just find pictures.
See, while he's looking that up, I'll answer Process's question that I see. My most popular video, I think, was one of this year's or last year's Gold Star Mothers ride. But all of my videos are just music and scenery. Like, I don't talk. There's no vlogging going on. It's just I leave the videos in the 360 VR format so you can pan around them and look at whatever you like on them. But that one was probably, I think that one got the most views and such.
All right, so this is the Road Dog, cleaned up. Obviously, when he wrote it, it didn't. I think everybody can see that. Maybe.
Yep.
I'm gonna blow her up a little bit. But yeah, that's it might be a little hard to see, but yeah, the bike was ridiculously long. It had a huge car engine on it and weighed 3,000 pounds.
That's now a close second on my list of things I want to ride just for the ridiculousness of it.
I'm pretty sure that would kill you. He said that the average speed on that bike when he was driving it was 100 miles an hour. Absolutely believe it. Is there any more question? Where is this at? The bike is at the American Motorcycle Museum, not the one in Ohio. It's the one, I think it's the one that's fixing to close. I just got a mailer the other day that said the American Motorcycle Museum was about to close. And they were getting rid of all their stock. But, yeah.
I saw that too. I was not happy at that announcement.
The Road Dog, I think there's 5 of them out there. I think the original will probably end up in the AMA Museum in, it's right outside of, it's not outside of Cincinnati. Where's it outside of? It's outside of Columbus, maybe.
Oh, good. I'll get to see that one real easy then. That's only 3 hours away.
Yeah. Every once in a while I can perfectly think of the name of the city that the AMA Museum is in, and sometimes it just evades me. Today, it's evading me. Sorry, guys. I failed. All right, so, well, I guess we're about to the end of this. If you haven't, go down below, click the link, like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell. If you think I've done a good job and want to buy me a cup of coffee, go to my link tree or go to my Patreon and donate some money and get in on the goodness. You go to my Patreon, I have a lot of other videos from my military days. I got cooking videos and all kinds of weird stuff on there. And I'm more than willing to share it. To be totally honest with you, my Patreon's free. I don't charge for it, but you can become a subscriber. So there's that. I may be coming out with stickers here soon. I haven't sold any stickers because I just like giving stuff away, but I may start selling stuff soon. I don't know. We'll see. Any final words for our guest? Anyone? Pickerington. Yes, ma'am. That was it. Billy found it. I can always depend on Billy.
The more people who want to hop on my Discord, the merrier. It's open, it's free. The whole goal, just people meeting and getting together. You don't even have to get together with me. I'm just happy if you meet each other.
All right, guys, we are going to go ahead and close this video out. So thanks for coming. As always, it's been very fun. I love doing these interviews. If any of you guys out in the audience think you've got enough background to do an interview, message me. I'm on, find me on my interview, my Instagram, Patreon, YouTube, Discord. A lot of you guys know me from Discord. So I've got good stuff coming up. So hopefully I'll have bigger interviews coming. So until then, guys, I will see you guys. You guys be safe.
See you.